objects.
Really?
Green
put it up against another.
If
And then,
Yeah,
were in
I
school,
remember.
It was not even the shape.
Negative.
Mentally ill. Mentally
Did
disabled.
a special effects agency. You guys ready to go?
Alrighty.
You guys are ready? Okay. We are back here. Ethan Clerc podcast show. Great to be back. I think we're on episode 87 now of the show.
Sounds about right.
Sounds about right. We're up here in the attic. Colin Clare producing again.
Always good to be here. Good to be back.
Yeah, it is.
In the attic.
Not hot this week.
Not too bad, no.
The weather's changing on us. This week on the show, though, we have Jamin Leduc. A round of applause for Jamin. Jamin, am I pronouncing your last name right? Leduc.
The Duke, you
The
are.
Duke.
You are.
Awesome. Well, Jamin, we met you. I'm trying to remember how we met you. Through Dan?
Through Dan, he knew you guys from just like back in high school or whatever.
Yep,
like,
because you went to Redwood Falls.
Yep. So he knew of a party that you guys were having, and we came to your party, and been best friends ever since, I'd say.
Heck yeah. And then we went to St. Louis this past weekend, and we're
Yep.
going to get into that. That was a crazy trip. Jamin's
Great
first
time.
big road trip with us. It was a crazy time.
Very crazy time.
Jamin, why don't you tell people, though, right now what you are doing, just to give people a little background, short background on you, what you're doing right now.
Right now, I work at a group home and usually work about 50, 60 hours there a week and stay pretty busy. Other than that, when I'm off, I'm just hanging out with friends, always trying to stay productive and try and keep moving with my life, you know?
There you go. And you were going to college.
We're going to college. I went for 2 years, I went for law enforcement. Completely, it was like, just had my skills course set, so I only had about 6 months of the actual like core training left
Yeah.
to become a police officer. Yeah, that just was not for
Wasn't
me.
for you?
Was not for me.
You got 2 years into it, though.
Yeah.
So what made you think that was the right... Like, when you were a kid, did you want to be a cop or what?
Yeah, pretty much. Ever since like probably at least 8th to 9th grade, that's when it really flipped, and I was like, yeah, I knew I wanted to do this. And
Yeah.
like, I had like friends who were in like the rougher part of crowds, and like I even like was so committed as like a middle schooler, I like turned away from them and said,
Really?
like, yeah, and
Huh.
focused on my own like upbringing, and then
Yeah.
got to like college and everything, totally what I wanted to do. Like got B's, A's, did all the shooting and everything for the firearms class and the safety training, the EMT, first responder, and all that. And
Wow.
it just like it became a whole different like subject after that like 2 years of doing the main focus of the job. It became very like shifted in the direction of the sergeant's like perspective. I don't know, they almost like seemed a little bit corrupt, and like it was they would like telling us how they can pull over people that aren't doing anything wrong. They would literally make up like, oh, their taillight's out, oh, your tire's not
Well,
good
okay.
enough.
Well, they can pull people over for that.
It can.
But here's the thing: when cops are doing that, the goal is to get people for narcotics, right?
Yep, absolutely.
That's the goal. You pull someone over for a license plate, maybe they have marijuana in the vehicle,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And that isn't technically illegal. They can do that. It's like legal, but people would look down on that because it's like you're not getting them for the thing you're getting them
Yeah.
for. You're going to find other things.
And it'd be like people that they don't even like have any thing that they've met him before. It'd just be straight like, oh, they saw him and like, oh, he looks suspicious, and pull him over. And that's what they would tell us. And like, I know
if that's the case, that's
like,
bad.
I know
yeah.
from the bottom of my heart, like I have so many friends that are cops, and like they are not like that. But
No.
like for some reason at Rochester Community Technical College, the law enforcement officers there were just a little bit corrupt. And I have
The
friends.
professors were.
The professors were, and they were sergeants and everything, and they were retired. Like I have friends that were my best friend. His mom actually went through the program, and she graduated and everything. Was a police officer or whatever for like only a year or so. And she said that like they would like look at her the wrong way. She like felt very uncomfortable.
It's like old fashioned.
Yes, like
Almost
they would like
old-fashioned.
put her arm around her and like do weird
Really?
stuff like that, and like she just wasn't comfortable. As
Huh.
simple as that. Like
Yeah.
it was kind of just sad and
So
disappointing.
it just wasn't for you. The law enforcement wasn't for you.
And it was the whole like terms of like the two sides are splitting between like people just weren't seeing cops as good anymore, and like they are really good people. Like,
Yeah.
If you don't think they're good, well, you put yourself in like their job and like. Yeah, let's see
Yeah.
how like you respond.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, especially right now, I couldn't imagine going to school to be a cop. because I mean, right now they're probably like the most looked down on people, you know.
And they don't really have high paying wages,
No,
you know?
no, and it's probably one of the most complicated jobs because you are literally put in these split second impossible decisions where do you pull the gun out because you know if you do and you do the wrong thing and you make the wrong move, your life is over.
Yep.
You know,
Totally.
and there's racist cops, there's bad apples, you know, there's a lot of them. But I would say a majority of law enforcement in this country is probably not going out in the street with the goal to kill black people.
Absolutely.
Brown, you know, they're probably trying to do their job so they can earn their pension and then retire comfortably and, you know, support their
American
kids.
dream.
It's the American dream, yeah, and that's what they're trying to do. You know, obviously there's got to be reform. We've talked about this so many times on the podcast recently because of everything going on. It's almost impossible not to. It's so easy for people just to say, oh, all cops are bad. Well, you really got to realize that how many cops are there out there, and there's cops that really go out. And we had a great interaction with police in St. Louis.
Yeah.
Talk about, we're going to get into that story later, but talk about down to earth people that really care, you know, and there'll be people that say, oh, well, they reacted to you that way because we're all white. But I would hope that those cops, and from the way they interacted with us, I would guarantee that they would interact the same way for any other race. You know what I mean?
Honestly, there's no doubt. I mean, we had a minority cop too that was like the backup officer, responding officer.
Yep. Yeah. And so, you know, it's one of those things where there's going to be bad ones. And right now, you know, the media is going to pick that out and make it the target. And it's understandable because people want to hear bad stories. You know what I mean? People
catches your attention.
It does. People don't want to turn on the news and hear about a good cop doing good things or a good person doing good things. They want to hear about the car chase, the shocking news. So, you know, if I was in the media's, you know, shoes, you know, I'd probably do the same thing. You want to find the stories that are going to make you money. Because it all comes down to making money. It all comes down to making money. Took a side path here, but one of the things I wanted to get into this week, this episode comes out on Thursday, which is October 1st. So the first day of October, and the whole month we're gonna be doing Halloween related stuff. So technically, this is the first episode.
Hence we
got some spooky stuff going on here.
You can see this. We got Jason over here.
Yeah, Jason. You got a little nun-looking creature thing, and then
this is my wife.
So you need to get her to eating at McDonald's a little bit more. Get to that Travis Scott meal in her or something. We're doing 31 nights of Halloween movies. So you can review our list here, Jamin. Actually, this is my list. Colin wasn't really a part of it. I put it together.
Maybe I had a few ideas.
Yeah. So I don't know what TV show or what station used to do at ABC. They used to do like on TV. I remember
one
when
of
we were
them
kids.
did it, yeah. I think
31 days of nights.
Yep.
So we're doing our own. And these are all movies, you know, we have a couple kids movies in here, but we have a lot of classic. Can you see that on there, Colin?
Oh my.
Okay, so we might as well just go through some of them here. So we have 31 great Halloween horror classics. Not all of them are Halloween because it's actually pretty hard to find 31 movies that all take place during Halloween that are actually decent.
Ethan, and are you going to be watching these every night, like each night, October 1st, you're going to be watching Halloween Town?
We could, yeah. we definitely could. And they're not, I tried to pick like only good movies, so I'm trying to get this thing to get out of the way here, but it keeps.
Yes, you got Jeepers Creepers.
There we go.
There.
Oh, yeah.
Good stuff.
Oh, what's going on here? We gotta go back.
We're watching a little.
We gotta go back here. This thing's being dumb. We're losing it. Okay. The ghosts are haunting us already here for Halloween.
Yes.
Let me try pulling it up one more time. Okay, so 31 Nights of Halloween movies. If anyone at home wants to tag along or comment any movies I missed on here, Halloween Town, Vacancy, The Exorcist, Ernest Scared. I tried to get classic ones on here, Ghostbusters. I have 3 of the Halloween movies because they made like 20 of them. I have Halloween, for number 9, I have Halloween 2018, which is the newer one that came out. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
I actually did not know.
Jamie Lee Curtis comes back and does a role from like the earlier movies. Really cool. And then I have on October 31st for Halloween. You probably can't even see that, can you, Colin? Because it's this dang thing. How do we fix this before?
I don't remember. You did something.
Computers. Unreal.
Pretty smart, man.
We're never gonna get it here. We're never gonna get this thing. I have the original Halloween. So 1980, I think it was 1980 is I have the original Halloween on here. So go through, watch these movies. I have a ton of classics on here. And if you have any others you'd like to add, Halloween's like a great time of the year. I love Halloween, like all the scary stuff and everything, haunted houses, stuff like that.
Does it have to do anything with your birthdays this month?
It is my birthday. Drake's birthday is this month. We have a couple big birthdays going on. On the bottom, though, you can't see. I have The Town That Dreaded Sundown, which is number 15. And then in the bottom here, I have Halloween, the original. This will be on our Facebook page, and it will be on Instagram. So people that can go find that on there. But these are the 31 great Halloween horror classics. 31 Nights of Halloween, Ethan Clare show style.
I see you got the classic Night of the Demons on there.
Night of the Demons. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have not. No.
Night of the Demons. You need to watch it.
That's a Colorado classic.
Yeah, we watch in Colorado. 1988 came out. It's like a horror B movie, like low budget back in the 80s.
Yeah.
Like the acting is pretty shoddy.
Pretty cheesy acting.
Like a rubber movie or Sharknado movie.
Yeah. This is way before that though. This is like back.
Really?
This is like I don't even know what the budget would have been. Cheap.
Yeah.
Really funny though. Just a good movie.
Pretty entertaining.
Yeah, and so
watch those movies, guys.
Watch these movies. If you have any others, I don't know if I'm missing anything here. Jim, what's your favorite Halloween movie?
Oh, probably Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, I love that.
I remember watching that as a kid, like MTV, and I was probably only like in 3rd grade, and it was on. It was, wow, that just like had me scared, but it was
game changer.
Perfect scary movie.
Yeah, I have some kids ones on here too, like Halloween Town. I have Ernest Scared Stupid.
Classic. You see Ghostbusters up there
Ghostbusters on there. Clue. I even have Phantom of the Megaplex, an early Disney movie on there. That one's a classic one too. I also have some of like the really harsh, like out there ones. Nightmare on Elm Street, House of Wax, the Haunted Mansion. That's another kids movie. I have some on here I haven't even seen. I just have looked up, did a lot of research on top movies. I've never seen Trick or Treat 2007. I have never seen Pet Sematary 1989. Definitely need to watch that.
You haven't watched that?
I maybe have one, maybe when I was younger. I don't remember though. Otherwise, I think all the other ones I've seen. So I don't know if I've ever seen The Exorcist, the original one. The girls crawling back down the stairs. I know scenes from it, but I don't know if I ever have.
Crazy.
So go on there, watch your favorite Halloween movies. I'm looking forward to hearing from everybody if anyone watches them every night. If anyone's got any other ideas.
Jamin will be over here every night watching.
Jamin will be over here every night for the Halloween.
My pajamas and popcorn. And
Yep.
I drink popcorn with my beer, so.
There you go, Twisted Tea.
Popcorn with my beer.
We are going to get into the trip, though. This is the trip report. First episode of, we've done this before. We've talked about our road trips. I figured we call it the trip report on St. Louis. We were there this past weekend. We left on Friday, got back late Sunday night, and
early Monday morning.
Early Monday morning. Yeah, we got back at like 1:30 on Monday morning a.m.
Jamin and I had to work.
I don't know how you guys do it.
You had to work at like 5:30 or
4:30.
4:30, and I had to work at 6, so I got a little extra sleep than him.
It was tough, dude. I'm sure Jamin was sore. I was pretty sore when I woke up, but I can only imagine how sore you were.
Twisting those ankles.
Yeah, broke some ankles this weekend. I mean, if you guys want to check them out, I mean, they're both still bruised.
Are they? Maybe you have a picture we could put in here if you got one. Well, you could just send it to me after. I could post it in.
I got some videos and some pictures.
There we go. I'll post those in here right now.
You can see my beautiful feet that I get pedicured every single week.
Jamin, though, was that your first time in St. Louis?
Mm-hmm.
What did you think from being there? Because we went to some really bad neighborhoods. We went to we obviously were in downtown. We stayed downtown. We were all over the place, though. The suburbs too. What were your thoughts on it?
Honestly, it's a beautiful city.
Mm-hmm.
As much of I don't know, like poverty that St. Louis has, it's a very beautiful city. That they have like the art and everything with the monument, and there's a lot of like beautiful graffiti even, and like I don't know, as much of like a low poverty like town that it has gotten to, there's a lot of like positive sides, and it kind of like I've always seen that like beautiful side, and then I'd never seen that poverty side, and then I was in the poverty side and I still saw the beautiful side, you know?
Yep.
So it was kind of like vice versa. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
two sides.
I
St.
totally
Louis
get
is
that.
strange because it has that small town feel, kind of.
Yeah.
It's so weird because their downtown's like modern. You have like around Busch Stadium, they have like that whole thing around there is so modern. Some of the buildings super nice, and then they have like the river walk. But as soon as you go across the river into East St. Louis, complete just trashed.
Yeah.
It's crazy. As soon as you go downtown, like outside of downtown, there's some really bad neighborhoods.
Yep.
And then you go past those, and there's some really nice neighborhoods. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I mean that is a good point because other than Baltimore, I don't know if I've ever been to another city where you go from downtown, really modern, to
Detroit.
horrible.
Detroit's just like it.
Yeah, St. Louis is almost unbelievable though. You literally can walk from downtown, you get by the old stadium where the Rams used to play, and then you are in
A homeless camp, basically.
it literally is bad. It gets bad quick, and I feel horrible for people living there.
Yeah.
Because I was doing research on this, and I figured out that I totally forgot the numbers now. I was doing research on this right before the podcast. But the number of abandoned buildings in St. Louis is pretty astronomically high right now. Let me just type this in. I don't remember the exact number. I don't want to mess it up either. They have, of the 129,000 total properties in the city of St. Louis, approximately 25,000 are considered vacant and abandoned. And so
1/5.
it's bad. Yeah. And it reminds me a lot of Gary. Obviously, Gary's worse, but it reminds me a lot of Gary. And the problem is that St. Louis used to be pretty big. And they've lost over 60% of their population from their peak, from an article that I read. And so you have a lot of people that left and they went to the suburbs. And that's what kills a lot of these communities is you have
Urban decay.
you have people that just take off. You have people that don't want to be there, and then crime takes over. You have all the baby boomers that are slowly dying, and then the properties get eaten up and they decay and fall apart. And I think it's just a natural thing that decay and abandoned buildings attracts crime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just one of the
Absolutely.
things that these people that live around there have to deal with on a day-to-day basis as you go outside and you might hear gunshots. You're right next door is a trap house. Like, how do you fix that? Like, what do? You can't tear down 25,000 buildings. Like, that costs so much money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They have a
Just to demolish
25.
them and
Yeah,
leave it
they-
empty,
Oh yeah, they have a $25 million a year budget to tearing down abandoned properties. I'm pretty sure is what I read.
Wow.
And so they have a large.
It's just like that church, and I know you have videos that you'll probably show later, but that skate church that we went to, those guys bought it for $1.50, and that's because they just want the property tax.
Yep.
The city does, so they'll sell the building for extremely cheap.
I mean, you saw that in Detroit. You see
Yeah.
that in Gary. All these
Wow.
different cities that
Didn't
we
even
go
know that.
to.
And I mean, they're
Yeah.
doing something super cool with that building.
we might as well pull that footage up while we're talking about it.
That
here.
was one of the coolest things of that trip, I think.
So
That's one of the coolest things you'll ever see, dude. I swear that place is
They
amazing.
made that beautiful. I mean, it was already a beautiful building. Just you can tell it was built in the 1850s. The amount of work that they put into that place is that's just incredible, and to make it a whole skate park. They said Tony Hawk had been there, right?
Yep.
It's crazy.
For people that don't know what we're talking about, I'm about to pull a picture. Here we go, right here. So there's a church in a pretty bad area in St. Louis, and these guys bought it for $1, or was it $1.50?
whatever, same thing.
50 more cents. That was whatever extra many square footage. This is the guy that one of the main people, and he gave us
He's one of the security guards. or
yeah,
whatever.
he gave us a tour of it, and they pretty much took it over. And when we were there last year, they were working on it, and now they're complete. I don't know if I have a better video of the whole thing. I think I just got one video in here. I'll play it one more time for people that want to see it. This is their big half pipe they built, and they just charge people to come in. You could do a membership. You could come skate. They do concerts there. They have a bar.
Red Bull does events there.
Yeah,
It's pretty big time.
Pretty well known. So this is the answer. I feel like one of the answers to all the abandoned properties and the blight in these communities is you have creative people like that come in and repurpose a church, and then the city wins off of it too because they get property taxes. Because a lot of the times when you have these abandoned places, they're not getting any money from the taxes, and so they can't put any money back into the community. You know what I mean? If you have 10 people living in a neighborhood that should hold 1,500, you're not going to be able to pave the roads, mow the grass, do anything. You don't have money for it. You don't have money for it, so what are they supposed to do, you know? And people don't realize that these people are stuck. There's no answer, and it just gets worse. And the government officials aren't willing to reinvest money into those areas because they'd rather invest that money into the suburbs because that's where the investors want their money to go. And so it's one of those things where what are you going to do? You know, what are you going to do about it? And I don't have the answer. We can just come up with creative solutions. Here's some videos, though, driving around the bad parts of St. Louis.
I mean, it's like a ghost town. When you're driving through there, like, you don't even see anybody. And then, like, when you are, like, parked and trying to go through the abandoned, like, people just look, when they drive past you, they just stare at you like you're out of place, you know?
Yep. And I'm trying to find, I have some more videos of us just driving around. Here's a house right here. That famous graffiti in St. Louis, potential is just half. And it's, I mean, the whole neighborhood on that side was pretty much abandoned. There was not much left, you know? And there was that guy that had walked up to Chris. I don't know what he said that, what did that guy say to you guys?
His old school was right there. Whatever.
Abandoned?
Yeah.
So he obviously has been in the area his whole life. And he's watched.
And he saw that weird tourist or whatever, and he was just telling us that that's his old school and that he lives down the street and nothing's changed in the last however many years, 20 years.
Isn't that crazy that a guy who's been there that many years has seen all the damage that's been done, nothing's changed, and then it's just one of those things. Why has nothing changed in so many years? You know what I mean? This guy has seen it firsthand. It blows me away. It really does. Here's more video of us just driving around. Abandoned house, abandoned church, abandoned this, abandoned that. And some of them are burnt down. Look at all these just blighted properties. It's horrible, you know? It really...
And we love abandoned buildings and all that. Like, it's awesome going in all these places, but it's also sad to see a whole city just completely covered in abandoned places. And
It
I mean,
looks like
some
it's
of
just
them
left behind and nature just took over and grew over.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that you can kind of do moving forward is a lot of these places have opened up parks or whatever. They either tear the properties down or they build like a park in the actual house.
Really?
Like, you know what I mean? They are in the property. Like, they'll take the roof off and then they'll have like community gardens and stuff in there. And they were doing a little bit of that at the church. I saw they had like a community garden right there. That's one of the things you can do, you know? And we can even go into talking about the mall, the abandoned mall. Jamin, you like that mall that we went to there?
I couldn't believe a whole mall just being abandoned like that. And
yeah.
It was just left behind.
Yep.
And like nobody like was able to like purchase that and rebuild it and make it more lively. So like that would totally be something like you should make a monument something out of. Like whether it's just even keeping the Cinemark and tearing the rest of it down, or I don't know, like
keeping the movie theater.
Yeah.
And making I don't even know what you do with the rest. The issue is it costs so much money to tear it down.
Exactly.
You know, we're talking millions of dollars. I have a couple videos here though from the mall. No, that's the cave.
And we just uploaded a full length 360
Yeah,
tour.
did you see that, Jamin?
That was cool.
People are loving that.
That was really cool.
I took my 360 camera. We walked through the entire mall. So you can go on YouTube and type in Jamestown Mall 360 tour, and you can go around the mall and literally like explore it with us while we're walking around. You can move the camera.
And that was the only time that it's ever been 360 cameraed, right?
As far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I haven't seen any.
People have done drone footage in there. People have walked through it 100 times. There's a ton of videos on YouTube, but I've never seen another 360 tour. If anyone's done it, we're not taking credit as the first, but
it's cool to see.
Until then,
people are like,
I'm taking credit for the first for him.
Thank you, Jamin. So here's walking outside of the mall. There's Jamin. I love these. I love the look of this, the old 90s look of the mall, though. And I think the mall was actually built in the 70s, but has a very 90s vibe to it.
It is literally ginormous.
It is.
What is it? 1.2 million square feet
around there. Yeah. Here's like the giant center area. You know, the food court would be straight.
If you look up there on like the top, it says like Jamestown 14 Cinema, food court straight ahead, and the Macy's on the right there.
And someone commented on the video. They said, is the mall that damaged from bulldozers, or is it that damaged from people? And I think the answer is vandalism and nature. like water damage.
True.
People spray painting. I think they did come in with equipment because they took down.
There was equipment in there at one point.
Yeah, and there used to be
one
big
of the
statues.
Many times that I've been in there was machines in there, like two machines.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And then, let alone too, you got people taking out all the copper wiring of all these abandoned places. Same thing with this Jamestown's Mall. People are going up in the rafters, cutting the electrical, taking the copper.
Yeah, you got your scrappers.
You were there.
That messes up the whole piping, I'm sure, too, with it all. You know, they're not.
Well, they have to
clean
rip
when they
apart
do
the
it.
ceiling.
Yeah.
You know.
So, like, that's, I would say, more, too, of, like, the ceiling vandalism, you know?
Yep.
Some of my buddies and I showed up at like 3 a.m. one time, and there was a car in there. It scared the crap out of us because we thought it was like news security or something, but nope, it was scrappers in there working all night long. We came back in the morning to like leave them alone. We came back at like 8, 9 a.m. still in there.
Oh, my goodness.
Scrapping. So, yep, and they had machines. You could hear them in there.
Well, and that guy we talked to, remember we talked to a guy that lives in the area.
Local, yep.
And he lives around the area, and he said the cops won't touch it. They don't want to be around there. They don't care. They would rather leave it alone. And I think the guy said the Port Authority owns it.
Yeah.
The St. Louis Port Authority. They don't want anything to do with it. They would rather it burn down probably and just forget about it than them have to show up all the time and arrest people, because it's a huge waste of taxpayers' dollars. You have people coming in here and they board it up constantly. It's just like any abandoned place. You board it up constantly. People show up, rip the boards off.
They pay for a company to board it all up, and they're literally ripped off the next day.
Yep. And I have a couple more videos from in here. We did a whole free-for-all video of us walking through here. We have 2 now. One, the 361, and then 2, the other video of us just walking through the mall. Here's like one of the main areas here. There's the Foot Locker. You could tell this part's just really destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I can see why people would ask, did a bulldozer come through there, or is that natural decay? I mean, it looks like both. Like, look right here. You know, like it looks like the ceiling is coming down
scrappers. It's being abandoned since 2011 or whatever.
Yep. And so
Then they had that huge fire in there, right?
oh yeah, the fire. Yeah, I was
And
in
one or two of the department stores, yeah.
Gosh.
And that was literally in like June and July. I think there was 2 fires, one in July, one in June.
and that's in our 360 video. We have the actual spot of where the fire was, and you can see the metal twisted. The ceiling is actually coming down,
the metal beam that was just like fried and completely like
pancaked over.
Yeah, that was nuts.
I've
And they had to
never
have a
seen anything like
support
that.
beam to keep it that up.
Mm-hmm.
Just wild. And that was completely man-made. A total like arsonist just
Yep.
really did that and was trying to burn down the whole building. For
Yeah.
what reason? Who knows? But I mean,
And that's what
sadly,
you see.
like that's what it comes down to. Like,
Yeah. Have you ever heard of Devil's Night
I
in
have
Detroit?
not, no.
I'm pretty sure it's called Devil's Night.
I'm
And-
pretty sure it's on Halloween, or is it July 4th?
No. I'm pretty sure it's on Halloween, if I remember right. They don't do it anymore because the city made it like, it's always been illegal, but the city cracked down on it. What Devil's Night in Detroit was, they would go around, I'm trying to figure out October 30th,
Oh,
so the night
gosh.
before Halloween. They would go around and they would burn down as many buildings in Detroit as they could. Kids would, just anybody. Everybody would.
Well,
And
not everybody, but
in the inner city neighborhoods, it says, and included hundreds of acts of arson and vandalism every year. And it kind of stopped. I don't know what year. It used to be horrible, though. They used to burn
Yeah.
down dozens of buildings.
I mean, Detroit's gotten a lot better, and that's probably why they're trying to stop it. I mean, the community's trying to come together, rebuild Detroit.
But I'm wondering if anything like that has ever happened in St. Louis, where people would just go around and burn down. Because we didn't really see too many burnt down places. If you go to
No.
Detroit, if you go to Gary, there's a lot of remnants of burnt down properties that are just, the houses are there, half burnt down. They don't touch them.
I saw a few in St. Louis. But
Did?
Oh, really? I don't remember seeing any.
don't
And I know
either.
in Chicago, they'll go around and they'll mark properties with a big red X, and that means the fire department or police is not supposed to go in because it's too dangerous. Like the place
The
could literally.
neighborhood or just
Well,
the,
it's
the building of the structure.
I've heard that it's because it's too dangerous, but I'm pretty sure they do it if the structure is not like sound. Like you could enter and it could collapse on you. so they don't go in
It's
there.
not worth going in.
No.
And that's what we do. We come in there and we go explore.
Yeah. And people are going to be like, why do you want to go to these neighborhoods or whatever to check them out? Because I feel like it's good to experience the other things that we don't get. I mean, we've never dealt with that in our lives at all.
Man, I learned a lot just from like I know like the lifestyle that I grew up was nothing like that.
No.
And like when stepping into a community like that, like you're just left with just to absorb.
Mhm.
You know, you're just left to absorb.
You're thankful for what we all
Yeah.
grew up in, you know?
Absolutely.
We all grew up in a very like, what do you want to call it?
Honestly, I grew up in a suburb. Like,
Yeah, what is the word I'm looking for though? Privilege. It's
yeah,
privilege.
it
We're
is,
privileged to how we
honestly.
grew up compared
Yep.
to that.
absolutely.
Because if you grow up in a neighborhood like that, all you're used to is crime, violence. All you're used to is abandonedness and people not caring about you. And then you have this tremendous weight on your shoulders to escape from all that. And they're definitely these people that grow up in these neighborhoods are in a horrible spot to begin with, and then the government's no help to them at all. If anything, the government's against them. They don't care about them at all. They act like they care about them, and then they really don't care about them. If they
Exactly.
cared about them, there would have been change. It doesn't. I mean,
Right.
we're talking 50, 60 years, and nothing has been different there. That area probably doesn't look any different than if you would have
No.
gone there 50 years ago.
And that's the thing about these trips. Yes, we're breaking the law a lot of the time and going into places that we probably shouldn't, but we're learning a lot while we're doing it. We're making memories, meeting a lot of new people,
Yep.
learning all about the city, all about what these people have to go through, just getting a different perspective on everything.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that look down on it, but they need to look at it at the point of view that we did not grow up with any of this stuff. And we're going out. Part of it is the exploration. Part of it is the learning experience, like Colin said, of the whole thing.
Part of it is the adrenaline too. but-
Adrenaline.
adrenaline
yeah,
too. I
yeah,
was gonna
for sure.
mention that. You can't
I mean,
forget the adrenaline.
and people are always like, I've gotten blamed before for like, driving around bad neighborhoods and glorifying it, making it look like you. I mean, I'm like, we get out too, and like we talk to people. We get out in the street and we're
Yeah.
talking to people. We're not just sitting in our cars afraid of everything.
Exactly.
We put ourselves in dangerous positions, and people are gonna say that's stupid, but we have faith that the general population are good people, and we met some amazing people on this trip that told us where to go, gave us new locations. We met the family. We met the two kids at the cave, that guy on the street walking by, just people all over the place that are generally good people. The people that bought our food in Hannibal at the diner.
Oh my god.
and we never talked.
Never
to
even
them.
talked to these people. An older
Didn't
couple.
even get to say thank you. They were already left.
Yep. And by the time the waitress had come out with our bill, it was paid for. We didn't even get to thank the couple. When you travel around the United States, you figure out that the news, when they talk about horrible people, they're talking about such a small percentage that if we could figure out how to broadcast our stories to a bigger audience, I think people would be more connected in the United States, like how it used to be back, like post 9/11, right after 9/11, when the country was actually like unified for once and maybe forever. Because right now we're the furthest from unified. People hate each
Very.
other right now. People hate each other. If you're a Democrat, you hate Republican. If you're a Republican, you hate Democrat. No one can even talk to each other. I mean, you look at the debate last night. It just no one can even communicate in
It's
a
sad.
good format anymore. I think we need to teach communication in school again, because you have these kids that all they do is are on their phone, all they do is are on Snapchat and TikTok. Can they even hold a conversation without can they look someone in the eyes and talk to them? Can they? I would bargain no.
Honestly.
I want to have
you know?
good faith in people, but with how things are going right now and like the younger generation, I really have a tough time believing that a majority of kids could actually like sit down and talk to somebody and actually genuinely care what they're saying and listen. I don't know. Maybe I sound like a horrible person right now.
Well,
But
I mean, just to actually have like the attention span to retain not everything, but like the gist of what they're saying, like absorb the core foundation of that they're coming off of, what their story is telling,
Yep.
It's something that shouldn't be just ignored,
No. And I don't know how do you introduce that back when social media is so big right now, where you look at the younger generation relies on social media for the gratification, and everything's the instant gratification now.
Totally.
You post, you want to get the most likes, you want to do all this. It's all about instant gratification. You use the editing apps to make yourself look better. we've lost that. We've lost the genuineness of, or like the realness of people that I think was back in the 80s, 90s, whatever, maybe more 80s, 70s, 80s, where people were more genuine with each other and more real and honest with each other. It's just everyone's so fake nowadays where it's almost hard to really know what the motives are behind people. And I don't want this conversation to go into something where everybody's bad, everything's bad.
Yeah, but I mean, like when it comes down to like when we go talking about even just the debate that happened like yesterday, because filming this a couple days earlier than Thursday.
Yep.
But it's just sad. It's not even about of picking an argument and just letting the person speak about the argument and then like talking of your side and trying to outsmart him, and then he's trying to outsmart you and just trying to outsmart each other. It's not about that anymore. It's about like trying to win the argument, and then you just get so focused in the argument you can't think about new ideas. You're like your core foundation of like your argument. It just becomes a whole like fight and it doesn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It gets backwards, if anywhere.
The worst part about political debates, and this has nothing to do with either side because I've seen it on both. I saw it on both sides. They ask a question. So just ask me any question right now, anything.
Why are you wearing a USA shirt right now?
Well, see, here's the thing. USA, all right, so I like shirts. So they skip the total thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So they ask them a question, and then they figure out a way to completely avoid the question without answering it.
Yes.
It happened on both sides. And it's like the thing is, you ask them a question. I don't think they should go to the next one until there's an answer.
Yeah.
We want an answer. And if it takes all night to get to it, and I'll also, the thing about the interrupting with it, because we're specifically talking about debate.
Terrible.
It's horrible. Shut the other person's mic off when the other person's talking.
That's a good idea.
And everyone's just saying, well, that's not free speech. Well, you can't have free speech when you can't hear anybody. So they're both interrupting each other. Shut the mic off. Let one talk. Then when his 2 minutes are actually done, shut the other guy's mic off. Let him talk. We're in
that
20.
Would be a great idea.
We're in 2020 and they can't figure out how to actually do a proper debate. Like the either side can't figure it out, and then the people putting the debate on can't figure out how to do an actual debate. It blows me away.
All three of them are what? Older than 70? I know Trump and
I don't know
Biden
about Chris Wallace.
I don't know how old he is, but all interrupting each other.
Yeah, it was literally, I don't think I learned anything from it at all.
No.
And that's what the debates are for.
And like I know people who are on both sides.
Yep.
They were just disappointed. Simple as that of the debate.
It
Like,
was very disappointing.
It was just got nowhere.
No. And it's like everyone's like, well, it's hard to pick a winner. I'm like, winner, we should be thinking about every point that they're making and thinking about different decisions and stuff. And then in your head, you have an idea because there's 2 more debates. So I don't know if anyone should be picking winners yet.
No.
You know what I mean? We need to decide, and everyone goes into it with these preconceived notions and everything. And obviously everyone's got the bias in them and everything like that. But when you can't even get through, I don't even know how long it was, but when you have an hour and a half of 3 guys yelling at each other, 3 grown-ass men yelling at each other for an hour and a half straight, and not one point gets across. It's just a disgrace to the country and to everyone that wants to stand for the United States being dominant above everybody else. Last night did not show that at all. It was literally
other countries are probably laughing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know why either party or Chris Wallace, why they would get into that interrupting. I don't know why they would get into that. Do that.
Does that create more viewers? Honestly, if they're like always arguing and making that
a fight,
that's
not what they're worried about. Is viewership.
Is that going to be the next like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, the political debate? Like,
I don't know.
What the heck's up with all the drama here?
Yeah. And
I don't know, but probably enough of that.
Yeah. We can talk about the getting caught by the police.
Oh yeah.
Getting caught by the police because me and Colin are used to doing, these sketchy things, and then you always have the chance that the cops are going to show up. And then you have to make that decision. Do you run? Do you stay? And you're put in the position of the police. What do? Do you pull the trigger? Or do you be calm about it? And we pulled the trigger this time. We ran. And
fast.
I don't want to give anybody ideas.
Jamin ran a little too fast.
I ran a little too fast, hopped over a train track, and twisted my ankles.
So let's go back to the beginning of the story. We're kind of jumping into it a little bit. Let's show where we were. So we are in a tunnel and I'm not going to say anything more than we're in a tunnel here, and this is what it looked like. It's a tunnel. And
it's a train tunnel.
Train tunnel. Obviously, there's train tracks. We're all down there, and obviously there's too many of us.
Was that abandoned, or is that
No.
in service just in the off hours?
We were there in the off hours, yeah. And I mean, the fact that we did get caught and they did tell us everything, like I feel like we have more freedom to talk about it, because if we didn't get caught and we were kind of like being more secretive about it, I wouldn't be as open to showing the footage. But since we did get caught, I'm more like, I feel more comfortable about it, don't you, Colin? Since we got caught, you know?
Yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah. So we're in a train tunnel here, and there's a bunch of us, and we're down there for probably like 20.
Too long. Too many people.
Too many people.
Being loud.
We're kind of breaking every rule that you kind of set for yourselves when you're doing
We
this stuff.
basically broke every rule that we've stuck to throughout all these years of exploring.
Yep. Keep a small group, be quiet, be careful, and be quick.
Yep.
Get in, get out. Don't take your time. As soon as you get comfortable, you're probably gonna get caught. And that's what happened. We were down there for way too long. We got way too comfortable. We were dicking around. You know, I have like 30 videos. That's how you can tell we were there for too long. You should only be in a spot long enough to get a couple pictures, a couple videos, and then you should leave while you have a chance
I mean,
to.
depending on the spot.
Yeah.
Like every
But when you're
spot's
in
different. But when you're in an
active-
active spot, just get out of there.
Yeah. And so what happened was we're down here for a while. Maddie, a friend that we were with, is taking a picture of me right by the stairwell. And I think I have, maybe it's right there. So that exit sign right there, for people listening, I'm talking about exit sign. There's a doorway. I'm
The
right by it.
staircase that we came down.
Yep.
Maddie's taking a picture.
I'm in
Ethan.
front of that. And so Maddie's taking a picture of me. She gets done taking the picture. I hear like a walkie-talkie going off. And then I like look at everybody and we all start running. And then I hear, "Hey, stop." And I'm like, "Guys, maybe we should talk to him." But it was too late. We had pulled the trigger. We had made that split second decision that you hate to make. But when you commit to it, there's no turning back. So we had ran, and we ran for a long ways. We ran way down the tunnel, and we stopped after a while, turned around, and they weren't coming after us. And so you're in that moment. It's almost impossible to explain to somebody what you're feeling. Being in that.
Adrenaline's just really going. You're not trying to get caught. You're trying to.
It's not just adrenaline though. It's the fact that you ran from the police, and if you know that if you get caught, you could be charged with. I don't even know, impeding, well, not just trespassing, impeding arrest and running from police officers is another charge. And I don't like that moment is when you really regret doing it. 'Cause you're like, this sucks. 'Cause you can't do anything. No one's going to help you. You're breaking the law. You've just ran from the law. Now you are in the fight or flight. I mean, we're in the flight mode. We're not going to fight the police.
Yeah.
We're in the flight mode. We're in the flight mode. You got to run. And what are we going to do? Every decision you make could impact if you're going to spend the rest of your weekend in jail. Because if the cops would have been mad, we would have been in jail the whole weekend because we're committing a serious felony here. And so we ran. And then I'm talking, you got to make these split second decisions. Chris and Ryan are like, let's go up. So we found another exit. We all go up it. And I'm figuring, we're going to go out. Cops are going to be there. Because, of course,
Right.
they're going to go to the next stop.
Yeah.
And so no one was there, though. We go out in the alley, and everyone's shuffling out. We had a big group of people.
Jamin rolled his ankle this point in the tunnel.
Limping at this point, right, Jamin? You were limping
Dude,
coming out of the
that was
tunnel.
so much pain.
What did you trip on? One of the railroad ties?
I jumped over the railroad and just landed wrong and completely twisted my ankle that my ankle popped. And my whole foot right now is bruised from my ankle all throughout my whole toes.
I
just
saw
black.
that. Your toes, yeah.
Yeah.
It looks horrible. And so and the worst part is we're just getting started running and that happens to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So then we're all walking through the alley and I can see way down the alley, there's a lady on the phone calling the police. Of course, we're in a very wealthy area.
And this is at 2:45 in the morning or something.
Middle of the night. And we're in a very wealthy area. Gonna call the police as expected, as you would in a wealthy area. You don't want a bunch of guys walking around with backpacks and stuff.
She literally sees 10 people come out of that subway.
Yeah. And so we don't see any cops at this point. No cops are around. So we're literally, we're walking up the street. We're all tired from running that far. We ran a long ways. And we're walking up the street and we're making decisions. What are we going to do? Everyone's worried. Everyone's paranoid. Everyone's double checking over their back. You're looking around 100 times. You don't know what to do. And we decide, we need to split. We need to kind of split up. So I don't even know if like part of the group, we kept walking, went into an alleyway, hid behind a garbage can.
Yep. So we had like 4 people. We already split up. So we had a group of 9, and pretty much we split in half from that 9 to 5 to 4.
Yep.
And then there was actually we was even more. It's 3.
I don't know.
4,
I went with Lucy to go check out the
3,
car.
Well, that was
and
after we
2,
hid behind the garbage can.
because Jake and
the other girl.
Yep, they
Yep.
took off separate from our group.
Yep.
And then we were together, and we went like
Everyone's gonna be like, I don't know who's going where.
yeah, we went straight, and you guys went sideways, and
Well, no, because we went. So we're hiding behind a garbage can, and we're like, we need to get back to the cars because we're dumb enough to park our cars right by where the entrance was. And so we're like, we need to get back to the cars and see if the cops are there. If they're not, we could just leave. So we sent Colin and this other girl to go over there and look. They're gone for a while. We're all paranoid, hiding behind this garbage can in someone's backyard. We don't know what to do. Everyone's worried. Everyone's in that mode where you're really worried about yourself, but you're also worried about everyone else. You don't want to get caught, but you want to do the best for the whole group. Colin and them are gone for a while. He calls me. He's hiding in a bush. He had to run because the cops showed up. I don't know what happened, Colin. They pulled up on you.
I don't know.
Ran.
We were walking down the sidewalk. I saw a cop coming. I'm like, screw that. I'm not dealing with them. Dude, I took off.
And
I
split
took
up,
like 3
split up
turns.
from Lucy.
I literally jumped, like dived in a bush and laid there. Didn't move for like 20 minutes. Then when I felt coast was clear, after multiple cops with spotlights passed me, I called Ethan and I'm like, this is horrible.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was this big of a deal. I figured
it was bad.
I figured they would be like looking around for a while, and then they're going to be like, all right, we're going home. But I've totally forgot we're not in St. Louis. We're in like one of the rich suburbs. They don't have anything better to do.
that was a very nice neighborhood that
Yeah.
we were in, and it was I guarantee it, like the residents of that neighborhood didn't even know that there was a tunnel under it.
No.
It was overgrown. The police didn't even know that there was there. It was-
Yep. So what happens is after Colin calls me and says the cops are everywhere, they're spotlighting, they're coming around the block everywhere. We're far away, but we're still in the area where they're going to be looking. So we're literally like, we don't know what to do. We need to move. So we're walking down the alley. We're like, we need to get to this park because I went on Google Maps. I found a park, bunch of trees. There's a school right there. So we're all walking. Maddie and Ryan take a right. Me, Chris, Jamin, Jake. It was us 4. We were walking down this alley. No, Colin was still not with us at this point.
I was hiding.
He was hiding still.
Oh, really?
So it was us 4. We're walking down the alley. Remember? We're hiding. We're just about to hide. And then
Chris.
turn around and there's a cop pulls right there, shines a spotlight right on us. Then we go 2 and 2. I go with Chris. You go with Jake. And I'm like, I'm worried about you because you got your foot. You can't run. I'm running.
First time on a road trip.
Yeah, first time on a road trip. I'm running with Chris. We hide in this bush. And I don't know where you go.
So this is where we went. We went straight ahead and tried running to that park. Well, guess what? There's a cop in that park. So we turned
Really?
around and hid behind a garbage can in the elementary school.
Yeah, in like a trash corral area.
Yep.
And so I'm hiding. I follow Chris. We hide in this bush, which is like surrounded by road. Horrible spot. Lit up all the way around us. Only dark in the bush. We're laying there. I'm in the lower planter. Chris is in the higher planter. And I look to my left, and there's a cop literally like 10 feet behind Chris, like creeping up with his lights off. And I'm like, Chris, do not move. And he's like panicking kind of a little bit. He's like, what? I'm like, there's a cop right behind you. Do not look. And he like rolls over and gets down onto my level. And like the bushes move a little bit. I'm like, we're done here. There's no way that we're going to get out of this. And then literally as we're doing that, the cop comes around into the parking lot where I am. And then I hop up on the planter and lay down. And he's literally 5 feet away from me. I can look over and look into his car. That's how close he is. I'm like, please, God, please just let him leave. Let him leave. You know, this is the moment where your whole, like, you don't know what to do. You don't know what the next decision is you're going to make. Are you going to run if he finds you? And then you're going to get tased? like, what are you going to do? So he drives by. I'm like, holy cow. He goes back on the street. And for the next hour and a half, cops are driving back. I don't know if you guys couldn't see anything probably back there.
You were sleeping, weren't you, Jamin?
I was sleeping. My ankles hurt so bad. I just took a nap.
Yeah, and so cops are driving by, and we don't know what to do. And we finally meet up with Colin, and we come back by you guys. And then the girl that we were with, that we knew down there, her sister had pulled up on the police and pretty much said, yeah, I know whose car that is, whatever. They get on the phone with her. They say, you need to come back. We're not leaving your guys' cars. We're going to tow them if you don't come back.
They basically went, picked her up, brought her back, talked to her, figured out that we were just taking pictures, checked out her Instagram, all that. And she was basically trying to get me and
all of us to come back.
All of us to come back.
But we're like...
We thought she was lying to us, just... like trying to get the cops to get us back, and so
you don't want to be cynical about people.
No,
but at the same time, you also know the cops are going to do whatever they can to get you back, and if they have her, they're going to be listening in on the phone call.
Absolutely.
But what ended up happening was we decided to go back. We decided to go talk to the police. We pull up, and the coolest cop ever gets out, and like, just what a nice guy. I mean, honestly, like, what a nice guy. He gets out and he's like, "Are you calling?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then he's like, well, what are you guys doing? Why are you running? Like, we just want to talk to you. Like, we're not even mad. Like, we know you take pictures and everything. He's like, as long as you guys aren't doing graffiti or anything, you're good to go. And I have a little video here of us interacting with him. I don't think we're going to be able to get audio from it. Probably not. But it's pretty much just us talking to the cop here. He's taking down our information. And he's talking to us about our YouTube videos. And he had seen that he was watching the YouTube videos. And... he had he knew like everything about us, which was the funny thing. And then all these other cops are pulling up too, and they were just like the coolest guys.
Yeah,
like they didn't care, they weren't mad. They were just like, why did you guys run? Like we just wanted to talk to you. And I'm like, we were paranoid, we didn't know what to do, we shouldn't have ran. And at the end of the night, he actually called me after we were done with them at like 5:30.
Because we were missing some of our friends, so they're still hiding.
And he's like, hey, I just wanted to make sure you guys got everybody. The cop called me in the middle of the night, and I couldn't believe that. He called me, and he's like, I'm getting off my shift. I just want to make sure you guys got out of there all right. I'm like, wow, you're a good guy. Like, you actually care.
And this is the best part about the story. That cop was on a 24-hour shift. That was his 24th hour he has been working. And he was still, like, the most... well-spoken, soft-spoken, like genuine guy that actually cared more about us than like trying to punish us.
Yep. And he just said, we know people like you come to our city, and we know that people come and do the abandoned buildings and everything. We're not worried about that because there are other people doing bad things. We want you guys to be safe out there. Don't run from the police. Talk to them most of the time, as long as you're not doing graffiti or stealing or damaging property. You're not going to get in trouble, you know? And so we made a mistake. We shouldn't have ran. And you live and you learn. This is one of the times we learned for sure, you know? We learned a big lesson. And that cop, I got to give a huge shout out. I do not know his name. I don't know anything. I don't know his badge number. He watched some of the YouTube videos. So if you're listening right now,
he's part of the University City Police Department.
If you are watching or listening,
Missouri.
In Missouri, if you're watching or listening, you are the man, and your whole department should be proud of itself because that was the way you treated us that night. We should have been arrested. We ran. We definitely got lucky. We should have been arrested, honestly. And you guys let us go. So
just thank you for that. Like
everyone's gonna be like, they should have got arrested. We should have been. We ran. We should have gotten the punishment that we deserved, but we have to thank the police department there because they saved us big time. So maybe this is the biggest lesson. You know, everyone makes mistakes, but most of the time you deserve a second chance. And we got a second chance that night.
Of course.
And that was just the beginning of the trip. That was the first night. that was the first night.
Maybe the second place we had been to because we went to the theater or whatever before that.
We went to like the hospital and the hotel, and this is the third spot of the trip. Yeah, and that was when we got caught. And so it was a fun story to tell. Like we wouldn't be telling it right now. Obviously, if things had gone different, but you know, I just really, I thought, to be honest, the whole trip, St. Louis was an amazing trip. St. Louis is an amazing city, and you really got to feel for the people that live there that can't get out of it. You know, it's a horrible situation, you know, it really is. And the answer to it is you need government that actually cares about you. And right now the government there doesn't. It's clear they don't. All you got to do is go there and experience it for yourself. And you can clearly tell that whoever's running that city does not care about the people in those areas, because otherwise change would have happened. And that change is just not there. Mm-hmm. So that's my opinion on it. I don't want to be talking like it's a fact, but something's got to change.
Something is definitely wrong.
Yeah. And you see that in Detroit, Gary, Chicago, you see it in all these big cities, like these cities that have a lot of crime issues. Someone's got to change. And that's why the voting is coming up here. So vote for right now everyone's talking about voting. We couldn't support it more. Go out, vote, make your voice heard. Vote for, we're not going to push one or the other. You vote for who you actually believe in. But all we can encourage is do research. Don't trust the media for a minute, because these news stations, whether it's Fox, CNN, and whatever, they're biased to either side.
And they don't even like speak about the facts. They just attack the other person.
Yep.
And that's the sad part.
And they use the whataboutisms. When someone has something, they say, what about him? What about Biden? What about Trump?
Yep.
What about you make an issue and you talk about it and don't bring up the other person at all?
Yeah.
That's what actually matters to the American people. Don't bring up the other candidate. Talk about your issues and what you're going to do to make things better. And all we can do is just tell people to go out and vote. Because if they have an issue with anything, the only way to clear that up is not by burning down cities and stuff like that. It's voting for people. And if you don't think that's going to do anything, then go out and run yourself and get your community with you to back you up and make a change, whether it's in city council, mayor, senator, whatever. Go out there if you wanted to make a change. Don't just bitch about it on Facebook. Go and do something about it. That's a good message to end the podcast.
Yeah.
So, Jamin, any other words for anyone watching tonight?
Man, that was just one of the best trips I've ever been on. Like the stuff we did, we experienced a lot of things, going to different places. And the thing that I enjoyed most about it is this trip wasn't just like, oh, we go to one place and chill. We go to one place, then go to the next, then go to the next, go to the next, go to the next. We literally were up for about 26 hours straight, if not longer, and just kept going to place to place to place. And I really enjoyed that. There's no like, and that's kind of the way that I try and live my life, like just don't sit there and stop. Just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Because if you stop, you're going to miss something.
Exactly. Geez, what a message right there. Get out of your comfort zone. People don't do that enough. We were not in our comfort zone a lot. We got out of it. Whether we're in a bad neighborhood or we're in running from the police. Obviously, you're out of your comfort zone. You're put in these positions where you're out of your comfort zone and you grow and you learn and you put yourself in other people's shoes, whatever it is. You really learn. That's when you grow as a human being.
Hey. Them saying, just climb the 40-foot ladder. Just climb the 40-foot ladder.
Climb the ladder that's barely hung on.
I'm not sure, but okay. And you just do it. And it's like, you get to the top. It's like, wow. Like, I'm pretty glad I did this.
Even
and
with 2 broken ankles.
Out of the comfort zone for sure. Like, shitting my pants.
But, shout out to Jamin for being a real troop with broken ankles.
Yeah. We got to thank you, Jamin. I know you keep thanking us. We got to thank you for coming. A lot of people tell us they're going to come, and then they never come. You came with. You did not complain.
Only did you come, you didn't complain. You did everything that we did. You stayed up as long as we did. You did it.
And you were with the 2 hurt ankles. Literally, they were bad. Like, we saw them. They were bad.
And
those
that's
are
the
like
thing.
trip
Let
enders.
me put this in this, too. Whatever. My ankles were hurt. They were, like, broken, sprained, whatever. That's the whole point. You can't let that things hold you back. You just got to keep going and like experience new things. No matter, everybody has their like story in life and everything, and people have an easier life than others, and people have a harder life than others. Where you come from and how you start, that's not how you can finish. That's not your finish point. It's how you grow from those perspectives and how you grow from those challenges.
What I've heard a good quote is, it's definitely a quote that has the part of it where you need to do a lot to grow yourself, but the quote is, it's not your fault if you're born poor, but if you die poor, it's your fault.
Yeah.
Because that would mean that your entire life you made decisions that didn't benefit you. Because if you're born poor, obviously people are born in these horrible situations, but there's always a way out. Yes. Whether that's, and the definition of poor and rich means a lot to, there's a huge difference to a lot of people, but that's
poor and rich can just be happiness, wealth.
Exactly.
And that's simple as it. It's all those things combined into just one.
Yep. That's a positive message to end the podcast with. Look at that, Jamin. We're talking here. I'm hoping that some you guys got some value out of what we talked about tonight. It was a lot of storytelling from our trip, but there's always little snippets of things that can be.
And the trip video should be coming out within the next week or so.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get the video out on our main channel, which will have like everything we did put together.
Little highlight video. So thank you everyone for tuning in. We were gonna have a storm chaser on tonight, but that didn't work out. So we got Jamin on, the man.
Woo!
Jamin, you gave us a great episode. We really appreciate that. I'm not sure who's going to be on next week, but we're going to get someone interesting. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Jamin. Thank you, Colin.
You guys.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. We'll be back next week. This is the Eat the Clerc podcast show. Objects. Really?
Agreed.
I put it up against another.
And then
Yeah, I remember.
It's not even the shape.
mentally ill. Mentally
And
insane.
a special effects agency.